to calm down our system, calm down our breathing, and it just calms down our whole body. I think in times where we've got lots of change going on, it's nice to do that, take a step back. And then through our yoga today, we're going to do some hip opening, and we'll add some shoulder opening as well to that. So let's begin. It's coming into a comfortable seated position and softening your eyes and coming into the room, noticing the floor beneath you supporting you, and noticing any sounds inside the room, and doing a check through your body, just noticing any tightness that you might have, exhaling into those general areas, getting yourself nice and comfortable. If you need to sit down with your legs out straight, you can do that, or stay with the legs crossed, whatever works for you. So the yogis did a lot of work around breathing and came up with a pranayama breathing as a way to improve mental health and also physical health. Now, we're going to put our left hand on our heart and our right hand on our rib cage. And noticing as you breathe in, noticing how your ribs and your chest expands. And as you exhale, how it deflates again. So continuing on with your hands in those positions and noticing the breath as it comes in, fills up through your lungs and your chest. Have a pause and then slowly exhale. Just continue on. So pranayama breathing helps to expand the force of life energy, which is called prana. And when prana is activated, the results are things like increased vitality, clearer communication, improved circulation and digestion and elimination. So it's pretty important. And when you think about it, breathing is important. It's one of the most important things that we do. Just continuing on, noticing that breath and leaving behind the busyness of your morning. When we're breathing, if we notice when we're in fight or flight syndrome, our breathing gets very short and very quick. And as we lengthen out our breathing, it helps to calm our system down and helps us to balance our hormones and manage our stress. And in the practice of pranayama breathing, we're attempting to lengthen the breath while checking in to the lower third of the lungs. So as you're breathing in and you notice how your lungs and chest expand, and then there's a pause to the breath, and then there's an exhale. It helps to lengthen out the breath. Sometimes we do ujjayi breath, which is when we notice the sound of the sea in our throat as we exhale. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do some alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to take our right hand, our thumb and our index finger, and we're going to place our thumb on one side of the nostril and the index finger on the other, and then the pointy finger on our forehead between our eyebrows. We're taking a few breaths in and out to start with, just getting the hang of the natural breath. And then as we go into Nadi Shana, which is alternate nostril breathing, we're going to place our finger over the left side of the nostril, breathing in through the right, closing off the right nostril, having a pause, and then open out the left and breathing out the left. Then inhale through the left, pause, release the right nostril and breathing out through the right. So that's one full cycle. We'll do another cycle together, then you can do some on your own. So breathing in through the left, pause and close off the right nostril. Breathing out through the left, then in through the left, pause, close off the left and open up the right. Breathing out through the right, breathing in through the right, closing off the right, pause and opening up the left and out through the left. In through the left, close that off and open up the right, out through the right. So continue on for 4 or 5 more rounds, just with your own breath and your own pace. Let's go 2 more rounds. And when you finish your last round, bring your hands back to Anjali Mudra, taking your time. Let's open our practice with an Om. You can join me if you wish, but you don't have to. We'll take a big breath in and then big breath out. Another big breath in. Om. Thank you for being here today. When you're here for yourself, you're also here for others. Let's start our practice in child's pose. So taking our knees nice and wide and our feet together, walking our hands forward and bringing our forehead down to the mat. Taking 5 long deep breaths here, and each time you exhale, surrender a little more into the pose and noticing how your body's feeling down through the lower back and through the legs and through the shoulders. Slowly bringing your forehead down towards the mat. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then coming up into all fours, bringing your knees underneath your hips and your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to do some rounds of cat-cow as we inhale, lifting our chest and our gaze up. And as we exhale, lifting our back up towards the ceiling, looking through our knees towards our feet. And continuing on, we'll do 3 more rounds. And from here, we'll go into some shoulder opening. So gazing towards your right hand, we're going to lift the right hand up towards the ceiling and take our gaze with it as we open up through the chest. So taking a big inhalation, looking up towards that hand, and then as you exhale, swing the arm down and underneath the left hand and hovering there. And then inhale, take it back up, reaching up towards the ceiling, taking your gaze, opening up through the chest, and exhale as you come back down and hover underneath, threading your arm underneath the left arm. And on our next one, we're going to inhale, lift all the way up. And as we bring that arm down, we're going to bring the arm, shoulder, and ear down towards the mat and take your left hand forward. And from here, we're going to take 3 long, deep breaths, noticing how we're stretching through the scapula on the right side, opening up through the shoulder. And then inhaling, coming back up, bringing our hands back to all fours, and we'll take it to the other side. This time, gazing at your left hand, as you inhale, lift the left hand up towards the ceiling, opening up through the chest, and exhaling, threading the left hand underneath the right, and bringing your shoulder and arm down towards the mat, hovering, and then inhale, come all the way back up, stretch it up, and exhale, bring it back down to hover and stretch it through, elongating through your hand. And then on our third round, we're going to lift it all the way up. Inhale, open through the chest, and then thread the left hand underneath the right arm and bring our shoulder, our ear, and our arm down towards the mat and take the right hand forward. And from this position, we're stretching through the scapula on the left side, taking 3 nice long breaths. And then inhale, coming back up to the mat. And we're going to sit down on our knees, stretching through the front of the legs. And from here, we're going to take our left hand across our body and bring the right arm underneath. And we're going to stretch that up and bring our hands to the shoulders on both sides. Just taking a few breaths here, noticing that stretch through the left scapula. And then release. And then we'll go to the other side. So bring the right hand across, left hand under. And we're going to bring both hands to our shoulders. Noticing the stretch now more on the right side. Just taking a few breaths here. And release. And giving our shoulders a little bit of movement. And back the other way. And then bringing your fingertips down to your shoulders, top of your shoulders. And we're going to bring our elbows in a big circle, trying to touch the elbows together at the front. If you can, you both can do that. I find that hard. Let's go 2 more rounds. Good. Imagine you're drawing a big circle with your elbow. Now we're going to go back the other way. So again, bringing your elbows together at the front, drawing a big circle with your elbows. That's it. Let's go 2 more rounds. Nice. And then free your arms. We're going to go do some side to side stretching. So we're going to place our right hand down on the mat and bring your left hand over the top. And then go to the other side. Just going to go from side to side. So you can be up on your knees, or if that's uncomfortable, you can sit on your buttocks, whichever works for you. Just stretching through the side. Inhale as you come up and exhale as you go to one side, and then back inhaling and exhaling to the other. And we'll go one more on each side. Really stretching, lengthening through the body, through the side. And then from here, we're going to come into a little sequence of child's pose and upward dog. So we'll start off with taking our hands a little bit forward, and we're going to inhale, bring our hips forward and raise our gaze and raise our chest. You can notice a nice stretch through the lower back and through the hips. And then we're going to exhale back into child's pose, and noticing how that feels through your lower back and through your shoulders. Let's continue on for 3 more rounds. Exhaling as you go into child. Pause, and then inhale as you come forward and lift your chest and lift your gaze into an upward dog. And then coming back to all fours again, we're going to take it a little step forward. We're going to go from child pose to downward dog. So we're going to go downward dog to upward dog. When you do your upward dogs, you can keep your knees on the ground if you like, or you can take it one step further where you lift your legs up off the ground. So you can choose whichever one feels right for you today. It does put a little bit more pressure on your wrists when you go to the full upward dog. So we'll start off with taking our toes under and coming up into a downward dog. We'll just give that a little stretch here on the back of the legs and through the shoulders. And then we're going to come forward into an upward dog. We're going to inhale, and you can roll over your toes so you have your actual legs off the ground, or you can have your knees down, whichever. And then exhaling, coming back into downward dog. It's really stretching through the back of the legs and through the shoulders. And then inhale back into upward dog. Let's go 2 more rounds. And then coming back to all fours. And we're going to do some alternate leg and our arms. So we're going to go back to all fours. We're going to lift through our left leg and our right arm. So as we inhale, lift up and lengthen. And then exhale, we're going to bring our knee and elbow together into a tiger curl. So inhale, lift and lengthen, and then exhale to tiger curl. And then on the next inhalation, lift and lengthen and bend your left knee and bring the foot over to the right side. And then take your right hand across, holding onto the foot, and lift up through the chest and lift through the leg. That's it. And then release. And we'll go back to the other side. So we're going to lift and lengthen on the inhalation, left hand, right leg. And then exhale, tiger curl. Inhale. Continue on. We'll do 2 more rounds. And then we're going to hold it, bending the right knee and bringing the foot across to the left side, and then sweeping the left hand across to the foot, and then lift up. That's it. And release. Okay, from here we're going to take our right foot forward and place it on the outside of the right hand into lizard. That's it. So we're opening up. I'll just change my thing so you can see a bit better. So we're in this pose here, in the lizard pose, and we're just moving our body in a circular direction. And you'll notice there's some opening through the hip on the right side, but also some stretching of the wrists. Now from here, you can actually lift your left knee up off the mat if you wish, and just noticing that stretch and noticing that hip opening. And then from here, we're going to take our right hand up in the air and taking our gaze with it. Staying here for 2 more breaths. And then bringing that hand back to the mat, bringing the left knee down and taking the right knee down next to the left. Then we're going to go to the other side. So we're going to pick up our left foot and place it on the outside of the left hand into lizard. And then from here, we're going to do some circular motions, opening up through the hip on the left side. And then if you wish, taking the right knee off the mat. And then we're going to lift the left hand up in the air, so coming up into a lizard twist. And noticing the stretch through the back of the left leg. That's it, good, nice work, both of you. And then bring your hand back down to the mat and bring your knee back down and place the left and the right knee next to each other. From here, we're going to go a little more into a stretch of the lower back into a pigeon pose. So we're going to take our right knee forward and take the right foot across to the left side of the mat. And from here, we're going to slide our left leg back a little. That's it. I'll just change my position so you can see it a little bit better. So coming into pigeon pose. So you can stay here if you wish, or you can bring your forehands down to the mat and get a little more stretch on that right side. So stretching through the glute on the right side helps to release off some of the tension in our lower back. So stay here for 2 more breaths. And then coming back up onto your hands and bringing the right knee back. Just moving your body in a circular motion, just freeing up the hips again. And then we'll go to the other side. So we'll take our left knee forward and then take the left foot across to the right side of the mat and then sliding the right leg down a little, coming into pigeon pose. So stretching through the left side of the body, and you can stay here if you wish, or you can come down. It looks like you're both taking the stretch a little more. Stay here for 3 breaths, and on each exhalation, just releasing the body a little more into the stretch. And then coming back up onto your hands and coming up onto hands and knees. And we're going to go into a sun salute from here. So we'll come up to a standing position, standing towards the front of your mat. So you both know the sun salute really well. So you might like to go through at your own pace, or you can come with me. We'll do 4 rounds today. So we're going to inhale, lift and lengthen our arms, looking up towards the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Then inhale, lift and lengthen through the chest, and then exhaling, stepping back into a high plank or a low plank. So high plank, you've got your knees up. Low plank, you've got your knees on the mat. And then from here, slowly bending your elbows and lowering your body to the mat. Then inhale, lift up through the chest into an upward dog. And then exhale, tucking your toes under and coming up into downward dog. And then taking your gaze forward towards your hands and step forward into a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine, and notice how that feels down the back of your legs and through your lower back. And then inhale, coming all the way back up. So that's 1 round. We've got 3 more rounds to go. So inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhaling, folding forward. And then inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, stepping back into high plank or low plank. And then slowly lowering your body down to the mat as you exhale. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your gaze. And then exhale, tucking your toes under and coming up into downward dog. Taking your gaze forward and stepping forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, tuck your chest into your legs. And then inhale, coming all the way back up and back to Anjali Mudra. 2 more rounds to go. The body's starting to warm up a little now. And exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, stepping back into high plank. And then slowly lowering the body to the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen into upward dog. And then exhale, tucking your toes under, up into downward dog. And then taking your gaze forward and stepping your feet to your hands. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, stretching out through the lower back and the back of your legs. Exhale, tucking your chest into your legs. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Feel free to rest here if you wish, or we go 1 more round. Inhale, lift and lengthen, stretching through the front of the body. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine and the chest. And then exhale, stepping back into high plank. And then exhale, slowly lowering your body to the mat. Inhale, lift through the chest into an upward dog. And then exhale, taking your body into downward dog. Taking your gaze forward and stepping your feet to your hands into a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, tucking your chest into your legs. Squeeze it in. And then inhale, come all the way back up and back to Anjali Mudra. So let's have a couple of breaths here, just get our breath back again. And then we're going to go into a warrior sequence. So if you have a block, you might want to use it for the warrior sequence. Okay, good. So we'll start with taking our left foot out, turning it out slightly, and step forward with our right foot. And we're going to go into warrior 1. So as we inhale, we're going to bend through the right knee. So the right knee is over the right ankle, lifting the arms up and lifting the gaze up. It's going to take 3 breaths here. Nice and strong through your legs. And notice a stretch through your hip on the left side. And then we exhale, we're going to take it into warrior 2. So taking your right hand forward, left hand back. And then we'll inhale, lift up into reverse warrior. Taking 3 breaths here. Stretching through the front of the body and through the front of the left leg. And then exhaling, bringing your hands together behind your back, clasping them, and then lengthening through that front leg and bringing your chest down towards your right leg into humble warrior. Lifting up through your hands, stretching through the shoulders. Nice. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then releasing your hands down to the mat or down to a block. And from here, we're going to lift our left hand up towards the ceiling into triangle for 3 breaths. And notice the stretch through the back of the right leg and through the chest. Taking your gaze up towards that hand, really opening up through the chest. And then releasing that hand down back to the mat or the block. And then we're going to take our right hand up towards the ceiling into a twisted triangle. And noticing the stretch through the back of the right leg. Staying here for 2 more breaths. And then releasing that hand to the mat. And then inhale, come all the way back up into Anjali Mudra. And we'll give our legs a little shake and go to the other side. So turning our right foot out slightly and step forward with the left foot. And inhale, come into Warrior One. So bending the left knee over the left ankle, taking your chest up and raising your gaze. Stay here for 3 breaths. Noticing the stretch through the hip on the right side. And then taking the left hand forward, right hand back, and really lengthening through those hands and noticing the strength in the left leg so that the left knee is over the left ankle. And then inhale, lift the left hand towards the ceiling and slide the right hand down your back of the right leg. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And then bring the left hand down, lengthening through the left leg, clasping your hands behind your back into a humble warrior, lifting the hands up off your back, really stretching through the shoulders and lengthening through that left leg. Take 2 more breaths here. So getting a nice stretch through your shoulder and through your hamstrings. And then release your hands down to the mat or to a block, placing your left hand on the mat and your right hand up towards the ceiling, and take your gaze with it. So you're twisting through your chest, taking a couple of breaths here. And then bringing the right hand down, back down to the mat or your block, and we'll take the left hand up into a twisted triangle. And noticing how that feels down through the back of the left leg. And opening up through the chest. A couple more breaths here. And then release that one down to the mat. And then inhale, using the strength of your legs, bringing your body back up. And give that a little shake. Okay, from here, let's try a tree pose. So we're going to open up through our feet, spreading our toes nice and wide, and just moving our weight around on our feet and getting a good balance, a good grip on the ground. We're going to lift our left leg first, so getting a nice grip through the right leg. We're going to bring our knee up in front of us and then bring the foot across, and you can lift the foot up a little. Oops. Finding yourself a gaze point. That's it. And then from there, bending the right knee a little, and then bring your hands up to Anjali Mudra. Feel free to, you're both balancing really well. Let's take 3 breaths here. And 1 more breath, and then we're going to release that left foot to the ground. And then give the legs a little shake, and we'll take it to the other side. So opening through the left foot, really spreading the toes and just moving your foot a little bit so you feel a really good grip on the ground. And we're going to pick up our right knee and then bring the right foot across, and then bring that foot up a little higher. And from here, bending the left leg a little, and then bringing your hands to Anjali Mudra. Finding your gaze point. And let's take 5 breaths here. Whoops. And then release. So doing the balancing helps to calm our system and helps to balance our body out. Giving your legs a little shake. And from here, we're going to go down to the mat into Paschimottanasana. So we're going to be sitting with our legs out in front of us. And this time, let's take them nice and wide, coming up onto your sit bones. We're going to inhale, lift our arms And then exhale, we're going to stretch forward and bring our hands down towards either your toes or your ankles or your shins. And on each we're going to stay here for 5 breaths. And on each exhalation, releasing your body a little more down towards the mat. So just gazing forward towards the top of your mat and allowing your body to stretch a little more on each exhalation. And noticing how this feels through your lower back, the back of your legs. And then releasing. And then we're going to take our right foot forward and our left leg, we're going to bend our knee out to the side, coming up onto sit bones. So have your left foot on the inside of your right thigh, and left knee, if it feels like it's up high, you can place a support under it like a bolster or a block. Otherwise, we're going to inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, we're going to fold forward and take your hands down either to your toes or your ankle or your shins. And we're going to stretch through here for 3 breaths. And again, on each exhalation, just allowing your body to surrender a little more into the stretch. And then releasing and taking it to the other side. You might find that one side feels different to the other. Coming up onto your sit bones and noticing where the knee is compared to the other side. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your arms, and exhaling, folding forward. Now you might find that you're in a different position this time. So we're stretching through. This is really giving a good stretch to our glute on the right side. So taking your hands down to your toes, your ankle or your shin, and gazing towards your toes. Let's do 3 more breaths here. Surrendering a little more on each exhalation. And then release, and have both legs out in front this time. Give them a little shake. And then we're going to inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, folding forward and bring your hands down to your feet, your shins or your ankles. And we'll stay here for 3 breaths. Noticing how that feels down the back of your legs and lower back. And from here, we're going to roll onto our back and hug our knees up to our chest. And just move around on your lower back, massaging through your lumbar spine, releasing any tension in the lower back that we've created. And then bring your feet down to the mat, taking your hands out to the side, straight out from your shoulders. We're going to do a little twist. So we're going to exhale, take our knees to the right and look towards the left, keeping our shoulders on the mat so we get a nice stretch through the front of our body. And then inhale to the center and exhale to the other side. Taking 1 more breath here. And then coming back to center with your knees and placing your feet on the outside of the mat. And we're going to go into windscreen wipers. So we're going to take both knees to the left and look to the right. And then both knees to the right, looking to the left. Just continue on. We'll do 3 on each side, just getting a nice stretch through the lower back and through the hips. Trying to keep your shoulders on the mat so you get a bit of stretch through the chest as well. when you're finished with that one, coming back to a position with your knees bent, your feet flat on the ground, and placing your hands beside you and moving your heels towards your buttocks. We're going to do some bridges, and this time as we inhale, we're going to lift up through our hips, and we take our hands from the sides with the palms facing down, bring the hands up over the head and have the back of the hands touching the floor, really stretching through the front of the body, squeezing through the buttocks. And as we exhale, we're going to slowly lower our spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae, and bring our hands back down, palms facing down on the mat. Continue on for 5 more rounds, giving a nice stretch through the front of the body and through the hips and also through the shoulders. And as you exhale, bring your spine back down to the ground, vertebrae by vertebrae. Coming up as high as you can, bring your chin to your chest. Shuffle your heels back in towards your buttocks if you need to. Really lifting up, squeezing through the buttocks as you inhale, taking your arms over your head, and then slowly lowering the spine down. Bringing the hands back by your side. We'll go 1 more round here. And then from here, we're going to come up into a boat pose. So working through our abdomen. So coming up into a seated position with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. We're going to lift up our feet off the floor and take them out in front with our hands beside us. So let's do that together. We're going to stay there for 5 breaths. If you need to, you can always place 1 foot back on the ground, but this one's really good for strengthening the abdomen. So staying here for 5 breaths. And 1 more breath. And then rolling back, controlling back down to the ground. And from here, we're going to lift our legs up, and we're either going into legs up the wall or legs on the bed, or going into a half shoulder stand. So as you inhale, bringing your legs up towards the ceiling. Bringing your elbows slightly together. And from here, we're going to stay here for 10 breaths, enjoying the inversion and just giving your feet some circles, giving your legs a little shake, just a little bit of lightness. Taking your legs out wide. And then bringing the feet together, knees out wide. And if you've got your legs up the wall, you might like to take your legs wide again. If you're in a half shoulder stand, taking your feet over your head, bring your toes down towards the floor. Stretching through the back of the neck and the back of the spine. And then slowly bringing the spine back down to the ground and coming onto your front. So rolling onto the front. Bringing your hands underneath your hips. And we're going to lift up through the feet into a locust pose. Really squeezing through the buttocks. Lifting through the chest. 2 more breaths. And then release that one down to the ground. And then bring your hands beside our body. And we're going to lift up into snake pose. So we're going to inhale, lift through the chest. And lift up, really stretching through the arms. for 3 breaths. And then releasing that one to the ground. And from here, we're going to bend our knees and just let our feet fall from one side to the other, loosening through the lower back. And then from here, we're going to bend the left knee and bring the foot over to the right side. And we're going to inhale, lift and lengthen, a little bit like what we did at the beginning of the yoga. And then we're going to release that one. And then we're going to lift our right foot and take it across to the left side. And then holding the left hand onto the right foot. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And then release that one. And then we're going to bend both knees, take them out a little bit to the side, and placing your hands on your feet. And we're going to lift and lengthen. So lifting up through the chest and pulling back through the feet, stretching through the front of the body. And then release. And then from here, we'll go into a 5-minute relaxation in Savasana. So find yourself a nice comfortable position in Savasana. Laying on your back. You might have a bolster underneath your knees to support your lower back. You might want to have an eye pillow and a blanket or a warm top. So we're going to relax in Savasana for 5 minutes, getting really comfortable, taking some deep breaths as you relax into the floor, feeling the effects of your yoga and the energy and the fire within that you've ignited, and your beautiful prana, your life force energy that you have balanced at the beginning with your pranayama breathing. Just relaxing into the floor. Starting to come back into the room. Notice the floor beneath you, supporting you in your yoga practice. Gently stretching your arms above your head, stretching out through your legs. Taking a few deep breaths and rolling to one side. And you can stay there if you wish, or come up to a comfortable seated position. Let's close off our practice, paying respects for the energy and the space we've enjoyed with an Om. So bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. You can join me if you wish, but you don't have to. Big breath in, and then releasing your breath. Another big breath in. Om. Thank you for being here today, for your beautiful energy in your yoga practice. Hopefully you feel a little bit more calm and balanced. Let's bring our hands to our forehead for kind thoughts, and to our lips for kind words, and to our chest for a kind heart. Namaste.